Hey guys, this is Ellis, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use Ableton Live to basically trigger and automate the putting of sounds on your drum pad. We're going to use Chain Selector to do that. And so to give you an idea of what I mean, here is an example. I launch Only Jesus, and then I have, and then I launch You Never Change, and then I have my verbed out clap. And then I launch All Because of Christ, and then I have, and then I launch another one, and it takes out all of the sounds because I don't want any sounds on that song. All right, I'm gonna go quickly and show you how to do this. We're gonna insert a MIDI track, and then we're gonna open up the little Finder area, and this MIDI track is actually gonna become your instrument rack. So if you find instrument rack in the Finder, you can drag it and put it on there. I'm gonna put this one right there because my instrument rack default has a bunch of random stuff in it that would not make sense right here. And so the instrument rack, it says drop an instrument or sample here. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to basically layer it with a bunch of different drum racks. And each drum rack is gonna have the specific sounds that we want for each song. So for instance, we just put a drum rack in there, and we're gonna rename it to Only Jesus. And then we're going to find the pads. We're gonna arm for recording, and we're gonna find, see these pads lighten up in the drum rack. That's one way to identify the pads that you're working with. And so what I want to do is come over here to some of my favorite drum sounds, and I have the Only Jesus kick drum. I'm gonna put it right there in C1. Okay, yeah, put it there in C1. And then I'm gonna put this one in D sharp 1 because I know that this is C1, this is D sharp 1. And but now we have to go up to the chain selector. So you're gonna, within the instrument rack, you're gonna hit show hide chain selector, and you have 127 different places that you could put this drum rack. And so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna start from the very beginning. We're gonna put it on 1. Okay, so now Only Jesus is on number 1. And for us to be able to launch this drum rack with the rest of our song, whenever we start the click and the tracks and whatnot, we're going to go ahead and double click in here, and it's going to insert an empty MIDI clip. And then if you can't see the envelopes, you're going to open up the envelopes right here. You're going to go to instrument rack. On this next drop down, you're going to select chain selector. So chain selector, and we're going to drag this down to be on number 1. Okay, so now anytime we hit that, it's gonna, anytime we launch the clip, it's gonna give us those sounds for that song, okay? And then, you know, I might as well go ahead and let's copy, we'll paste that, but then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna make this one 0, and we're gonna use 0 as just, you know, our off clip, so there's no sounds on this one. So, so that basically, and the reason you want to do that is because if you're playing a song and you don't, let's say you go to You Never Change, but you don't have this, it's going to keep the Only Jesus sounds in while you're playing the next song. So every single song needs a MIDI clip, whether it has sounds or not. So you want to put the off clip on the ones that don't have sounds. But we're going to go back in here, and we're going to go back. Let me show you something really quick. So double click, and it will show the drum rack. And this is where our sounds are, okay? Actually, let's go to here. It'll make it select, okay. So what I like to do, whenever I'm using an electronic pad, I like to always have the velocity, the volume velocity turned down to 0 on each sample. Now what that does, you can turn the volume up to kind of compensate for the velocity change. what that does is the volume velocity it just takes away any dynamics, because I don't really want dynamics in electronic sounds because they're meant to sound electronic. They're not meant to sound acoustic and offer a ton of dynamics. So if I hit it soft, it's the same volume as I hit it hard. And that's good for mixing these in with the rest of your tracks and songs and instruments. Okay, so let's go back to the instrument rack. We're going to, we could honestly just copy and then paste, and then we'll rename this one to You Never Change, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and put this one on number 2. And what that means right here is, let's delete that, because it's not gonna be off anymore. It's gonna be, we can rename this one to be Only Jesus. We can rename this one to be You Never Change. And then we're gonna go to the instrument rack, to the chain selector, and then this one's gonna go to number 2. Okay. And so now we need to double click the instrument rack and then go back over to the You Never Change drum rack. And we obviously don't want the Only Jesus sounds in there. So let's just find a nice clap. Okay, I like that one. And then, which one is it? Let's actually put it over here. And notice how the velocity changes. I don't want that, so I'll keep it at 1 velocity. Maybe just turn the volume up. And then, I think that this could use a little bit of some reverb. So we go to audio effects, let's go to reverb. You can just drag the reverb on top of that. And it gives it some reverb. And you can mess with this however you want. You can do a lot of cool sounding stuff. And so you have that. And now anytime you switch,
1.
you got your Only Jesus sounds.
1.
Now you have now you have You Never Change. So it's just incredible. It's an entirely new palette of sounds for any song that you play. All right, so that was just a fast rundown of how I get my sounds onto my drum pad. And it was fast, but I think it was thorough enough to kind of give you an idea of what you can do, or how I do it. But if you have questions or comments, just go ahead and leave them below and I'll try my best to get back to them. Thanks for watching.